Welcome to video 3 in the Module 1 series. I'm going to break this up into a couple of videos, this section, because I have 7 topics here that we're going to look at. So let's take a look at these one at a time, and then I'll break it off in a few seconds or a couple of minutes, and then we'll take on the rest in another video. First of all, some of the core features that have changed. File Explorer has changed from Windows Explorer. Now it's really almost the same, except first of all, it's called File Explorer instead of Windows Explorer. Typically, you can get to it by an icon here on the taskbar that looks like a folder, or I can go over here to the Start menu and look for this thing that says Documents. Either one will get me to the File Explorer. Let's open the File Explorer up and take a look at it, and you'll see that I now have what we call a ribbon with a Home, Share, and View tab on it. This is very similar to the ribbon you might see on Microsoft Word, for example, the ribbons that are up here. So it's sort of the model that Microsoft has been leaning toward lately. There is now something called a Quick Access pane, and let's go back to it, and you can see it over here, Quick Access pane, which has replaced what used to be libraries on Windows 7. And these are things that you can just drag over here that you want to be able to access very quickly, and so it's sort of a fast access to those items, so you don't have to drill down into a C drive or a D drive or an E drive or an F drive and so on in order to get to these items. You can get to them quite readily. So those are some of the changes in the File Explorer. As far as backup and recovery, we now have something interesting that's new called Push Button Reset, also called Reset This PC. And I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to click on the Start button and then go to the Settings icon. And then we'll go down to Update and Security and Recovery. Now you see something called Reset This PC. Microsoft also calls it Push Button Reset. The idea of it is, if your PC is having problems, but you don't want to lose everything on it, you can sort of reinstall Windows 10 behind the scenes. I'm going to click the Get Started, and you'll see a thing pop up here that gives you two options. Keep my files. In other words, I can remove the apps and settings, but keep my personal files so I don't lose them. Or I can remove everything. I'll lose my personal files, my apps, and my settings. So you see, you don't have an option here to keep your apps and your settings, but at least you can reinstall Windows as it is with this quick push button reset. The next interesting item is the Task Manager Performance tab. Now, we've used the Task Manager for a long time. I'm going to call it up using the Control-Alt-Delete method here. And there are different ways that I can call this up. And I'll click Task Manager. And when Task Manager opens, now you may see it open for the first time like this, and you have to click More Details to see it like this. But we now have a Performance tab on the Task Manager that gives us performance in various areas: the CPU, memory, our disk drives, and our networking. So now we can see those 4 areas, and we can kind of get a view of the usage in those 4 areas. So this is kind of a nice way to get a quick view of the performance of your machine when you're having problems with the machine. Alright, I'm going to close off this video now, and in the next video, in video 4, we will take on the browser accounts and displays and security. Thank you for listening.